Imagine many people who in on me are familiar with Mr. Dan Bongino. Mr. Bongino is quite a celebrity, and probably a lot of people have heard his name and heard a lot about him. Some time ago, he and many others began to express major concerns over the more regularly trafficked social media platforms where censorship was concerned. Late yesterday, it was reported that things are getting worse, and that's something that I truly believe. And I just wanted to say that on top of the likes of Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, now a cloud platform has gotten in on this heinous practice. Hello and welcome to the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I'm your host. I'm Kurt. Today is Sunday, the 10th of January of 2021. As I say, this is the second segment that I'm recording today because I think that this is a very important subject. Welcome to all who are viewing me on Rumble and on YouTube and listening to me on the podcast. Thank you for doing so. If you don't listen to any of the other of my little videos and podcasts, I urge you to listen to this one and to understand what's going on and what it means at this point in time. Okay, I'm going to put up a little piece from that's a clip from a story from the Post Millennial from around 9 p.m. yesterday, in which it says basically that Amazon Web Services is in the process of literally deplatforming Parler.com. For those of you that are not aware, Parler.com is a competitor of sorts to Facebook and to Twitter. It's been around for months now. I've been a member for a good part of the time of its existence. I bring up Mr. Bongino because Mr. Bongino is part owner of Parler, and I want for people to understand that that's the case. I have no investment stake in Parler past that I like it as a platform. It's not as pretty or as polished as either Facebook or as Twitter, but it's and there are other options as well out there, I should say. For example, Minds.com comes to mind. But the point that I'm saying is this. For those who have been paying attention, you're already acutely aware that Apple and Google have either taken or will take the Parler app out of their, quote, stores. And I quote stores because they're a sort of a monopolistic way to keep their little worlds in line with what they want, with what they desire. For the most part, until very recently, that's meant to make it so that the applications that are found in their stores actually meet certain standards with regard to the technologies and so forth that are in use, so that they don't cause problems with the base platform of iOS or Android that are being used on the various devices out there that are their bread and butter, right? In any case, as you saw from the article that I had up, that was already happening. But worse yet, where that was already a serious enough blow for the fledgling social media platform, the fact is that the folks at Amazon Web Services in particular, have decided that they're going to remove Parler's stuff from their from their services, citing the fact that they believe Parler is doing things that are violent and so forth. Now, I find it amazing. I don't know who, for example, backends Twitter, and I don't know who backends some of these other social media platforms, but I'll just tell you that these people have had people talking violence and doing things like showing heinous activities and making horrible statements on their platforms forever. But as soon as it's some entity that the right tends to flock to, that's not going to be allowed, right? As I would have suspected and expected, the CEO at Parler said in the post that I cited that this was not entirely unexpected. In fact, I would say that it seems to have been more a question of when than anything Amazon had made the decisions or decisions that they did. Now, I just wanted to say to you, if you want to know what censorship looks like, here it is. Dropping an entire platform because people are doing things that you don't like on that platform, when the platform is not a content provider, but a place for people to post things that it's kind of ridiculous for you to have to to do anything but the very most basic sort of cleanup on is that's censorship, what they're doing when they do that, okay? Censorship isn't just the province of government, and that's obvious now, but apparently it's also that of big tech at this point in time, and that's equally obvious from the fact that both Apple and Google, and by this point Amazon Web Services, have essentially said, you know, we're not going to support Parler, even though Parler is paying to be there, right? Look, the number of posts on social media, particularly on the big social media, that I disagree with and I find heinous or horrible, I'm pretty sure would boggle the mind of many individuals. They would be amazed at how many people, how many things that's true for. So many things are that way for me. That said, I have no interest in seeing those making such posts censored or worse, deplatformed. Well, that doesn't even begin to cover the horrible move by Apple, Google, and AWS. What they're literally doing is saying this entire platform is not acceptable anymore, and we're not going to support it. I want to take a second and read an excerpt from the article that I'm talking about that sort of explains what happened so that you're aware. Basically what it says is, on Saturday, Amazon removed the social media platform Parler from its web hosting services. Parler, a social media network favored by conservatives, is being targeted following the riot at the U.S. Capitol on Wednesday and in the wake of President Donald Trump migrating to the platform after he was banned by social media giants Twitter and Facebook. And then there's a tweet, and the tweet says, breaking: Amazon has suspended Parler's web services account, leaving the platform offline until they find a new host. The news comes after Apple and Google removed the app from their stores. Right? Now, look, I've been saying something for a while now, and you can do with this what you want. I don't like iOS. I don't like Android. I don't like Apple. I don't like Google. I don't care for AWS. I don't really care for Microsoft very well. And I think it's time that we find ways, as I think a bunch of people are saying, to step away from those things. By the way, I don't like Twitter. I don't like Facebook really very much either. And I maintain my accounts there in much of the time in a sort of a shadow sort of way. The fact of the matter is, the place that I get the most play for the stuff that I'm putting out there is, well, quite frankly, Rumble. I don't do a lot with Parler these days. Every once in a while I check in to see how things are going. Right now, I'm not going to have the opportunity to do that at all, because those in tech have decided that it's a reasonable thing to basically deplatform those individuals and the various things that they've done. So again, starting with the idea of saying, we're not going to allow your applications on the app stores, ending with the idea of making it so that AWS is now deplatforming Parler, and they're going to have to find a new home to host their stuff, which fortunately, the way apparently they've done business, they haven't built themselves around AWS, except in terms that they happen to be in that cloud space, right? They're not using a lot of their proprietary stuff to do their business, and I think that's a good thing. Right, but the point of all of this is, if you don't think that censorship is coming for you from the people who are out there, who are telling you how horrible, how terrible, how bad you are, let me just make it plain to you. If this doesn't wake you up, you're probably going to stay sleeping until the water is at a boil. Okay? I'm just letting you know. What you do with that is up to you. My suggestion, when and if Parler comes back online, whether or not you keep your Twitter account, whether or not you keep your account at Facebook, when get a Rumble account, get a Parler account. And that's particularly true if you find that you're constantly being harassed for what you're putting out there. I know some people on Facebook who are constantly fact-checked, even though the things that they're saying are pretty much direct quotes a lot of the time. And that's just reality, and you need to face that. Okay, I need to wrap up this video. Again, Parler, Rumble, remember them. Make accounts there whether you do anything else. Okay, so Again, today is Sunday, the 10th of January of 2021. I'm glad to have you aboard, whether on YouTube, on Rumble, on the podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for paying attention. And like I say, I'm glad that you have taken the time to listen to this in its entirety, because the message is very important as far as I'm concerned. I hope you have a good Sunday, again, the beginning of the week. Hope you have a good week, Monday being the beginning of the work week. And hopefully we will see you again tomorrow. The speaker on this edition of the Daily Summation is Kurt Schubert. This video is recorded on Sunday, the 10th of January of 2021. The Daily Summation is created for Kurt's Religion and Politics. Thanks for watching this edition of the Daily Summation from Kurt's Religion and Politics. I hope you found it entertaining or instructional, or maybe both. If you want to see more from me, you can go to blogs.kpschubert.com. That's blogs.kpschubert.com. I am on Twitter, Parler, and Minds.com. My handle on each of those is @kpschubert. That's @kpschubert. I have a Rumble and a YouTube channel. They are the Kurt's Religion and Politics channels on Rumble and YouTube. I have a Facebook page. The Facebook page is Kurt's Religion and Politics as well. I am on Patreon. If you want to support me, that's one of the better places you can do that. And you will find me at Kurt's Religion and Politics on Patreon. I have a podcast. The podcast is podcasts with an S, .kpschubert.com. That's podcasts.kpschubert.com. I think you should be able to find me with relative ease on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify as well. The best way I find to do that is to look for Kurt's Religion and Politics. You can try to use the Daily Summation. I find that it doesn't work as well as a general rule, but you can always try that. I'm glad to have you aboard today, and hopefully we will see you again tomorrow.